Have you ever had a day where you've had a long checklist of hustle, 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 get all the things done, and you check them all off, and at the end of the day, you feel a little maybe empty? And then on other days, you focus a little bit more on being present and intentional for the day. Maybe it's not one or the other. Maybe it's some of each. Hey, listeners, we are going to ask you for a quick favor. If you could please follow us, we would appreciate it so very much. And a rating or review would also really help us be found by other listeners so that we can grow this audience and keep bringing you fresh content. Thank you so much.
Welcome to Redesigning Health and Home. I'm Meg.
And I'm Kerri. We love creating beautiful, functional spaces and living healthy, vibrant lives. So join us as we chat about simple, practical ways to take care of your body, mind, and your home. Whether it's fitness tips, home decor ideas, or navigating those big life moments, we're here to share what's working for us and what isn't, with some encouragement along the way.
And occasionally, we'll sprinkle in some fun topics to brighten your day and to make you smile. Let's redesign this life together, one step, one room, and one habit at a time.
Hey, Redesigning Health and Home. Happy Friday. Meg and I are so glad that you joined us today.
Yes, Kerri. Today, we're just going to get right into it. We're going to talk a little bit about a reverse of what we've been talking about. Kerri and I have been talking how we plan, all of our productivity, all of our organization styles, even from getting that closet ready to go, which is all helpful to set up routines and systems to make our life a little easier. But sometimes it can feel like a lot, and we might need to take a breath and step back.
For sure, Meg. Our personalities for you and I is we seek out interesting information on how to maybe streamline our lives or what we can do to best manage our time. And those tips that we talk about are all intended to be helpful. But there can be times where it just starts to feel like, oh my gosh, I have to redesign everything, and streamline this and automate that and plan for this. And so today we're going to talk about a little bit of the tension between those two desires of just being versus getting the things done and being productive.
Yes, absolutely, Kerri. I think after talking with Christy and Kelly, who wrote the book Quiet Please, it really made me think about intentional living, intentional time, where maybe we just need to stop and be.
hmm Yes, I have two girlfriends in mind when I think about this topic, and they kind of epitomize the intentional living. I'm not going to say that my other friend is fully into the hustle culture, but she is extremely productive and gets so much done in a day. And I admire both of them for such different reasons, but the ways in which they live is just so interesting because it's so opposite. So I know you looked into what is the definition of hustle culture. So can you tell us what you learned about that?
I will, and I want to pause before I do, because
Mhm.
when we were first thinking of this episode, I was thinking planning, responsibilities, productivity. And then when you said the word hustle culture, the first thing that came to my mind was, wait, is that really what's going on? And I
Right.
kind of think it is, but at first it was a little jarring,
Mhm.
honestly, because I thought hustle culture.
Agreed. I think that terminology has a negative spin to it. And also the word hustle, like to be hustled by someone,
Right.
right? Yeah,
Yes.
that's not a positive. That's not a positive phrase. So I'd be interested to hear what you learned about that.
And the hustle culture that we're talking about definitely has the mindset and attitude that glorifies constant, intense work, often called the grind, or rise and grind as the primary path to success, wealth, and personal worth. It emphasizes relentless productivity, long hours, ambition, self optimization, while downplaying or sacrificing rest, leisure, self care, relationships, and work life balance. It brings back to what Lindsay was talking about. So, there are a couple core elements of hustle culture: constant grinding, the belief that you should always be working harder, even when you feel you're at your limit. Success comes from outworking someone, often through side hustles, early mornings, those 4 a.m. workout clubs, or always staying on. In short, it's the idea that work is your end all be all, and sacrificing personal needs is necessary or even virtuous to get ahead by any means.
Wow, that is super interesting. I hadn't read that before. Wow, that is super interesting. I hadn't read that before. So I do want to clarify that we are not in any way saying that hustle culture is bad. And
Yes.
we're not saying that the opposite of hustle culture is bad or good or better. This isn't pitting one against the other. I think our perspective today is maybe there's room for both. Maybe there's room for both. And hopefully, just listening to that description that you gave, if somebody is in a season of hustle culture where they're truly working their buns off because they have a dream, I think that's a noble aspiration to work really hard towards your dream. Absolutely. I also hope for that person, though, that they do have seasons where they can take a break from that and refill their cup so that they can maintain that energy, right? And don't burn themselves out. So I think that is the perspective we're coming from with absolutely no judgment one way or the other. Just talking about, is there room for both?
Is there room for both? And I will be quite honest. This morning, I was laying in bed. It was bright and early, and my to-do list was going off, and I thought, "Why don't I just get up and get going?" But that's what would make me feel good. If I would just say, "Well, no, you're supposed to lay in bed this morning. You're supposed to
Right.
lay in bed." That wouldn't have made me happy.
No, no. And we talked a little bit about this before we hopped on. And I said to Meg, if I said to Meg that for her to rejuvenate and rest herself, that Meg, this is what you have to do for the next 3 days. You have to turn off the alarms. You'd have to sleep in until like 9 o'clock. And then you're going to get up and you're not even going to shower. You're just going to, lounge around with your coffee and read a book. Like that sounds like your personal version of torture. Right?
Well, maybe not torture, come on, it's maybe
Well,
for an hour I'd be in, "Oh, this is heaven," but then I'd be ready to get going, you know?
exactly. And I
Yeah.
think that's the point, right? Is how that looks for everyone is so different. For someone else, that scenario that I just painted might sound amazing. And they're like, yes, sign me up. 3 days of that? Absolutely. And so the intentional living or the resting or the filling your cup time is going to look so person specific as well.
I like it, Carrie. And I remember you and I were talking. It was our keep, stop, start episode for the new year. I said
Mhm.
something about me enjoying some quiet, slow mornings. And when we just talked to Kelly and Christy in the Quiet Please episode, and if you haven't heard that, I would recommend you listening to that first to understand maybe where this is coming from. They were talking about their silent retreats. They have to be quiet. And then when you're quiet, you hear so much and you are able to listen. Well, I'm told them that when I am doing my slow, quiet morning, so I'm doing the minimalist silent retreat for myself in the morning. I'm really smelling that coffee more. I'm tasting it so richly. I can hear all of the birds waking up in the morning. So sometimes quiet does say so much.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And it could just be for 10 minutes, right? And if that's what helps you set up for the day, is I'm not going to pick up my phone. I'm not turning on the television or the radio or even talking to anybody for the first 10 minutes of my morning. Maybe you step out on the front step and listen to all those sounds that are happening outside. Take in some slow, deep breaths just to start your day, get some sunshine in your eyes. What a great way to start the morning. And again, that might really resonate with some people, and some other people might be saying, are you kidding me? I got to get the kids off to school, and just don't have the luxury of that time. And so we get it. We've been in that phase of life as well, where the time is not always your own. And so what we're recommending though is after the kids are off to school, is there any time of day where you can take some time for yourself just to set up your day well?
That's a good point, Carrie. And yes, I intentionally set my alarm a little early to allow that time.
Hmm.
However, I know that sleep is so precious that maybe someone sets their alarm to that very last minute. And that time, that sleep time, is probably more beneficial for them, just to
Yeah.
alarm goes and they get going with their day. So it is not one or the other. We're just trying to open up that we've been talking so much about productivity and planning that maybe there is another side to take a breath. And when can that be?
Yes, exactly.
Well, Carrie, as we age and see our maybe family age around us, we are recognizing how precious time, though, is, right?
Yeah, for sure. I remember when Sue was on, CrossFit Sue, again, if you want to check out her episode, she talked about how at our age, there's more sand in the bottom of the hourglass than at the top. And that really hit me on that episode. And it kind of created a sense of urgency for me in that you only have so many years left. Don't mean that in like a depressing way, but it's true.
Yeah.
And so what what do I want to accomplish within those years so that at the end of my life or when I'm 80 and maybe sitting comfy in my rocking chair, I don't have regrets of, oh, I wish I had tried this or I wish I had tried that. And so there does feel like a bit of an urgency. And I'm not going to say because of that, I'm in hustle culture because I don't consider myself to be that kind of personality. But it is a little bit like, wow, I want to pack some things in, right? I think that's where the bucket list came from, is just that list of things that are important to you that you want to accomplish while there's time, while you're able to do that.
Absolutely. Like I say, 1,000%. And last year, we were doing summer bucket lists, food, activities, all of that fun stuff, fall bucket list, because we want to do things while we're able to do them.
Yes.
And even more, we joked about, hey, we could learn German if if we wanted to. So, and those thoughts get in your head and you say, why not? We have so much information at the tip of our fingers. What else can we do? But then you think, ah,
Yes. Yes. Spoiler alert, we did not learn German. We did not learn German yet.
yet.
There is a positive side to the productivity. I'm not going to call it hustle culture because I think that's a little bit harsh for my type of living, but feeling productive feels good, right? Like you check off those things off the list and a certain amount of busyness for me. I feel like I'm participating in the world and that I'm well enough and healthy enough to go out and be productive and contribute in some way to the world or helping my family, or for some people it would be volunteering, whatever it is. We get some positive effects from being busy and being productive, right? And if you take that really far to the hustle culture definition that you just explained, for some people, the positive of that is they're building a business, they're earning money for themselves, they're creating something. And so we definitely do it fills us up, right? It fills our cup that way from being productive. And so we're not saying that hustle is toxic or bad. It's just, mm, Does the productivity level that you're living in fit? Does it feel good? Does it feel right? Is it right for you? Is it the right size?
Now, Carrie, let's say we had a lot of people listening to this episode because they are productivity experts.
Mhm.
I feel there would be pushback because all of those experts are basically saying, no, I'm actually buying you time by teaching you how to plan, how to time organize, how to
Yeah.
declutter, all of this. They're buying us time by doing all of the productivity things in your day, but in a more efficient way.
Yes, and I 100% agree with that. But if there's never any end to the to-do list, then I would push back and say, but if you're just buying time to do more, then are you really buying any time? Like you're not buying time to have rest or freedom to travel or be with your family if you're just filling up that newfound space or time with more to-do list. And I think that that's an easy trap to fall into is okay, well, now that's automated. I automated my groceries. And so now I can fill it with something else. I actually had an interesting conversation with our youngest daughter. She's 24 and she's in college. And she was feeling a little stressed about adulting, which is a very common theme for young adults who are trying to figure out how to do all the things. It's like you mentioned with your kids, they're living by themselves. And so there is no one else to get the groceries or take out the garbage or clean the apartment or whatever. And so she was like, oh man, I feel like I'm failing at adulting. And so I said to her, well, first of all, it's not like there's a marker of achievement. Like if you do your laundry every Tuesday, you know, every week for 52 weeks that you get a gold star and you win at adulting. It's not like that, right? It kind of ebbs and flows. However, I think that as adults, when we can set up systems or routines, I would probably call them routines, it has the potential to free up some space for more fun things, more creative things, but only if then we actually use it for something that we enjoy or that rejuvenates us. I think that's the trap we can fall into is if we just use that extra time and fill it with something else, right? Oh, well, now I'm going to clean out the closets, or right? And you never actually take the time to rejuvenate, then maybe that's not really buying you back any time. I don't know. What's your thought about that? Even as I said that, I thought, well, but for somebody else, having time to clean out those closets, they would be so excited about.
I was thinking that. I thought, well, could that be rejuvenating? Could be.
It could
And I
be.
was thinking about a lot that we've been talking about. We are a little, I don't want to say later in life, are we? I feel still so vibrant. Yeah. Well, we're a little later in life than maybe the hustle culture, productivity experts that are currently really digging deep into that.
I mean, maybe for some,
Maybe.
but I do also see some that are like, it's never too late. And they literally are our age, that are hustling and doing all the things. So I think hustle culture can affect any age. But yeah, I do hear what you're saying that it's probably the younger set that are truly involved in hustle culture. I'm not really sure about that.
I'm not sure either. Well, Carrie, I am even second guessing what I just said. When I think about us, we're working hard on this podcast. We are trying to find times for all those other buckets that you were talking about.
Mhm.
But what I think was really important when we did our planning
Yeah.
episode for your energy, you almost found it. You found a little bit of that sweet spot. You said when you run out of energy, well, the buckets are going to have to just sit there because I'm done.
Mhm.
But you didn't then go into what you do when you're done.
Right, right.
Is it, do you then go to bed because you're done and tired? Or is it you're done with responsibilities, but you left some time because you want to relax and read and enjoy and do something for yourself? Take a bath, who knows?
Right, right. And that's a good point. And I think when I said that, when my energy runs out, like physical energy to go and, do the things, clean the house, reorganize the cabinets, whatever might be on the agenda for today. Yes, I do need to think about what is it that will rejuvenate me right now? Maybe it is taking a walk. Maybe it is watching TV with my husband. And sometimes it is actually taking a nap. Maybe it is scrolling on my phone, which honestly, I say that with the caveat of we all know that that is a slippery slope and it's questionable as to whether or not that's rejuvenating, right? Like it depends. Like I could go and find a YouTube episode or a podcast that's very rejuvenating and does fill my cup. And it's a topic that I did need at that moment. But if I'm just scrolling on Instagram, just scrolling mindlessly, that it could be argued that that's not rejuvenating. The point is, what is it for you and what is it for you in that moment? Some people are huge readers, go in fits and spurts with reading. And so it would not be my first go-to is to sit down and read like a fiction book or something. But for someone else, that would be their fill their cup activity of choice. So I think it's, again, so person specific. And I think that the point that we're trying to get at is taking the time to think about what is it that's going to help rejuvenate me. And I like that term because it's not just, oh, I'm so tired. I'm just going to stop everything and just like veg here on the couch. It is what is going to refresh us, what's going to make us feel better in our bodies, feel more rested, and give us energy to do the things that we want to do. And how long do I need? My sister Deb, she's like, I need 2 weeks just to be. We were talking, and she mentioned that she seeks out the productivity podcasts and the Instagram posts that talk about how to clean your house and how to plan, how to organize, and all the things. But right now, her life is just so full. Her job is pretty intense at the moment, a lot going on there. She's got a lot going on at home as well. And she said, I just want 2 weeks where I can just be me because my life is actually pretty awesome how it is and not feel like I have to fill it with all these productivity things. And she read a post that a friend of hers put up on Facebook that I'm going to read. It's titled Imperfectly Simple. Maybe the point isn't to always be extraordinary. Maybe the point is to sit in a cafe, laugh with a friend, walk home, listen to music, sleep. Maybe the point is just to live this small and beautiful life while we have it. By Samuela Goodall. And I like that in there, in that quote, it's not suggesting that we shouldn't be extraordinary. It's saying maybe the point isn't to always be extraordinary, right? Like maybe we don't have to be productive every minute of every day.
I like it, Carrie. And that's the exact part that I picked up because you and I've talked about this one before.
Mhm.
Always, never. All those words are so strong and
Yes.
powerful. So, Carrie, when you read that, I thought, gosh, that is nice. How wonderful to feel that sort of peace.
Hmm.
And I think that exhale would feel so great. I don't know how you get there, though. Like
Hmm.
Deb was saying, I saw this. I need 2 weeks to feel this,
Hmm.
to feel this. When you were talking about planning with your energy, I loved that so much because I thought just
Hmm.
fill those buckets. So I've been really thinking about this because you and I have been talking so much about the planning and the productivity. And I think it mostly has come from maybe this will help me.
Mm.
The productivity experts, all of that. But also, I remember I have this hanging in my fridge back few houses ago when the kids were very little. And this is a little bit the opposite of what you read. And I think Nelson Mandela gets attributed to it, but I think the actual author is Marianne Williamson, and it's from her book, A Return to Love. It says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We are born to make manifest the glory of God this one within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And this is the part that I really like. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same.
Mm.
As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others.
Wow.
And I have to admit, I'm probably the one pushing back here because sometimes when I pause, when I stop, I do feel the guilt. Even what I just said a little while ago, I have to set my alarm 10 minutes early because, right?
I heard that. I did hear that.
I'm not just giving myself that time. I'm
Mhm.
planning it in. I'm
Yes,
planning it in.
yes. In order to give yourself time to have a slow morning startup, you're actually getting up earlier. But that's okay because that's what works for you, right? That's what works for you.
Yes, it's an interesting framework to think, well, how do I get to that point of just simply be? But there's so much, again, to learn and do and live. We want to live, but is that truly a part of living? Is that, do you know what I
Well,
mean?
yeah, I do. And I remember on a couple episodes where you talked about you and your husband going to, it was like a German village that you went to, and you spent the day and you went from food truck to food truck or restaurant to restaurant, and you watched the dancing and listened to the music. And I think those are moments of just being. So it's not that you don't ever fit it in, right?
Yes. Oh,
We
a
maybe
million percent.
Right. We maybe don't recognize it as such or necessarily have thought about, well, I'm going to go to an Oktoberfest to rejuvenate. But that's what ended up kind of happening because it was a disconnect. You weren't trying to get any chores done that day. I also remember when you talked about driving up Mount Spokane and taking in the beautiful views. I think those are the being moments. And they don't always have to be 2 weeks. They can be 10 minutes. I think the point is taking the time to stop and smell the roses, which is the saying, right? Instead of just always doing and doing, doing, to stop and take the time to recognize that, hey, you know what? Life is pretty amazing. This world has got so many awesome gifts to give, and just taking the time to appreciate them and slow down and recognize them and have the lunch with a friend and, all those things. So it's not an either or. I remember on Lindsay's episode, she felt like work life balance was not even achievable, it wasn't real. And I think if you imagined a scale where it had to be exactly equal, right? How much work you did and how much balance of life you did, where you're just feeling so rested, relaxed, and grateful and in the moment and all that. And that if it had to be an absolute equal scale, weighing the same on both ends, I don't think that's realistic. But I do think that there are seasons of being able to do each. And the season could be as short as 10 minutes or the 45-minute nap that I take, right? Or in the middle of a really busy day, you get a text message from a friend saying, hey, I'm in town. Do you have time for lunch? And being like, yeah, I'm going to make time for my friend to have lunch. even if it's not convenient because it's important to you at that moment. I I feel like that feels more doable, more realistic than work-life balance. I don't know. What do you think?
That term work life balance is interesting. And I think everything you just said, you hit it on the bullseye because you took me back. And I'm going to take a little adjacent left turn here.
Mhm.
I recently listened to a podcast. It was productivity. And Laura Vanderkam, she does time tracking
Yes.
challenges. And she really said, now you kind of opened my eyes here because she did say a lot of people say, I work 80 hours a week. But if you really tracked your time, it's probably about, even if you work a lot, maybe it's more like 50.
Mhm.
Or if you really tracked your time, you'd find that you're doing things that you can fit in. Maybe when people say, I have no time to rest, maybe the actual phrase is, I don't have as much time to rest as I'd
Yes.
like, or
Mhm.
as much time. But when you said, you're right. I mean, we talk about our fires all the time. I enjoy beautiful fires outside, safety with the fires, of course, but we are outside. We're enjoying each other's company with some music on in the background. So, yeah, I probably had 2 hours on that Friday night
Mhm.
where I just was enjoying and being and breathing and being with
Yeah.
nature and community with the people around me. So I think that's really important for us to recognize, like you said about the scrolling.
Mhm.
You might set that timer on your phone to track how much you're on social, and it might be an eye-opening amount if that's something you do. But I'm
Yeah.
saying, I think when you just talked about the things that we are doing, and at the end of the day, if that person said, I had no time,
Mm.
well, maybe you did fit in some things that were rejuvenating that you
Right.
might have not even recognized.
And Meg, when you were talking about that, it just sparked into my mind about I wonder if Meg wrote in her planner fire time, right? Like,
No.
probably not. But you could go back and write that in fire with the hubby, 2 hours. Because I think what that does is it acknowledges that I did take time to be, whether I planned it in or not, but you did take time to be. And I think that when you're in that moment of being, recognizing that this is a moment of rejuvenation, this is a moment of intentional living, and recognizing that that's what you are doing, then maybe it will feel like, okay, yes, I am filling my cup. I'm taking the time to fill my cup. Because I think if we sat by the fire with our husbands and just scrolled, I don't know if that counts as being, right? I don't know if that counts as being. I don't know. Maybe it
You are making this is again therapy with Carrie. I like it. And this
does.
also makes me think, I know sometimes if the kids call and say they got a good phone call or they got a nice, pat on the back at work or something,
Mhm.
I will say, write those down.
Yeah.
Write those down because when you're having a bad day, you might think, gosh, something's not going right. And I'll say, wait, pause, go
Mhm.
read all of those great things that you had.
Right.
Things are okay. Maybe it's a bad moment right now. Doesn't mean it's a bad half day or bad day. It's
Mhm.
just maybe it didn't go quite as right. But go back and reflect on what was so good.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's fill your cup moment too, right?
Fill your
Is
cup
reflecting on all the positive things that happened. For sure.
for sure.
Yeah. I love that. So, as redesigning health and home, Meg, I think the takeaway that we would hope that our listeners would get today is you can design or redesign. Maybe you don't need to redesign. Maybe your design is already great, but you can design your rest and your rejuvenation time to fit what works for you. And I think the real question is, what is it that rejuvenates you? What are the things? Because they're going to be different for everyone. I'm an extrovert, and so I do get rejuvenated by being around people. For other people, that would completely and totally exhaust them and sound terrible, right? And so, what is it for you? And I think that's really the point. I was listening to Simon Sinek. I love listening to Simon. And he was telling a story that he had heard about two lumberjacks who started work at the same time and finished at the same time each day. But the difference is one of the lumberjacks left for about an hour and then came back. And the one who left for an hour always chopped more wood than the other lumberjack. And the other lumberjack thought, what in the heck is happening here? Like, how is this possible? And so he said to the lumberjack, where do you go for an hour every day? Like, you leave for an hour every day and you always chop more wood than I do. And the lumberjack that left for an hour every day said, oh, I go home and sharpen my axe. And the takeaway from that was take the time to sharpen your axe, whatever that is for you. Take the time to fill your cup. You're going to get more out of yourself if you take the time to rejuvenate. And I think that's what the moral of that story is. And so for someone, sharpening their axe might be that they hit the gym and they hit it hard and they work out as hard as they can for an hour, and that is their rejuvenation. It gives them the energy to push forward. And for someone else, that might sound terrible, right? And so what is it for you? And it doesn't have to only be one thing, but I think planning the fill your cup moments so that you can have a sharp axe and be as productive as you can when you want to be.
Wow. I like that.
It's an interesting visual, right?
Well, it is, and it's actually very motivating and inspiring
Hmm.
for the productivity. Woo! What can I do to sharpen my axe to be more productive today? I love it. Oh my gosh, I am giggling, but you're so right. We do find it. And just when we were talking a couple weeks ago about how one day might be really full
Yeah.
and one day might have pockets of time.
Hmm.
Maybe it's not every day at that 1 hour.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe you can find a block of time to do whatever that is
Yes.
just to maybe get you over the hump of, gosh, work's been really nuts. I'm just going to take Wednesday a couple hours after to garden, to go for a walk or whatever. So I don't think you or I would say this has to be a built-in, you know, break every single day, but
Right.
we can look at our time, use it wisely, fill in these nice little
Hmm.
rejuvenating. And like you've been saying, Care, you've been saying maybe for one is great, for the other, they're said, forget it.
Hmm.
Find what works for you, redesign it and redesign it again.
And you referenced Laura Vanderkam and her time blocking. I'm sure it would be extremely eye opening and probably a really great exercise to do, even for a week, if they didn't necessarily do it every single day. But she said that she really needed or really wanted to find time to sing. She belongs to a choir, I believe. And so she wanted to find one day of the week, one evening of the week where she could go and sing in a choir. And so she did. Wednesday or Thursday evening, that's her time to go and sing in the choir. And hey, the hubby has to figure out what's going on with the kids during that time because that's her time. It's a set time. And there's no changing it, right? The choir's not going to meet on a different day because she's busy. And I think her point was if she hadn't have planned it, it never would have happened, right? So yes, it rejuvenates her and it fills her cup because it's something she loves to do and it's just for her. But she did have to plan it or it wouldn't have happened.
That is very true. I think if you have things that are important to you, make those plans.
Mhm.
Yes, yes. If you leave it up to chance or if you don't write it down, something is going to scoop in that time.
Yeah.
Even if
Yeah.
it's, yeah, grabbing that phone
Yeah.
or something will swoop in that time. So you really do need to just figure out your plan so you can have that time. Yeah, absolutely. I like your
Yeah.
lumberjack story. Geez, I'm still thinking about it.
Well, and when we were talking, we've referenced the phone and the scrolling a couple times. And Kathleen Paley has a really great episode on analog living. She talks about intentionally putting some restrictions on that phone time. I know I could benefit from that for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
So, Meg, as a closing takeaway, I want to read this little segment here. You don't have to earn your rest, and you don't have to give up your ambition. A meaningful life isn't just built in the doing, it's experienced in the being. So instead of asking, what should I be doing? Ask, what would actually rejuvenate me right now? And take one step toward that.
I don't know why that just made me cry.
Aw.
But it's sweet. It is really sweet because, yes, that word rejuvenate,
Mhm.
what could that be? It could still be all of the great things that you want to do,
Yes, yes.
which
Uh,
is so nice to think about. It's not,
yes.
we're not saying jump in that bed
Mhm.
and close your
Right.
curtains. We're not, yes,
Yes.
what could that be? Or what should I be doing? What
Yeah.
could I do to
Yeah.
rejuvenate myself right at this moment?
Yes. Yes. So go ahead and build that life of your dreams, but take time to stop and reflect and live in it and enjoy it too. I think that's the bottom line there. So,
Fantastic. Beautiful, fabulous. I like it, Carrie. You have brought many things again for me to reflect on and think about. And I do feel rejuvenated actually to keep going after what we're building and doing it with intention, intentional
yep.
living,
Yes.
maybe
Yep.
with a little hustle in there too.
Yeah, a little hustle in there and also some time to enjoy the fruits of your labor, I think is what that's all about. So,
Absolutely.
it was an interesting perspective. Thank you to my sister Deb for inspiring this episode today. I hope you get your 2 weeks just to be Deb or whatever it is for you. Please take a moment to listen to the Quiet Please episode that Meg referenced. I think you're going to really enjoy the takeaways from that as well. And to everybody who tuned in today, thank you so much for spending this Friday morning with us. Until next Friday, we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Thanks for listening to the Redesigning Health and Home podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, we would love for you to like, share, and follow along so you can catch us on all future episodes. You can find me, Meg, at Fit, Fed, Feeling Good on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
And you can find me, Kerri, on my website at homestylewithkerri.com and on Instagram and Facebook at Homestyle with Kerri. That's Kerri. And you can find both of us at Redesigning Health and Home on Instagram and Facebook. So join us next time for more inspiration on creating a home and a lifestyle that truly supports your best self.